Welcome to the Country Hipster Podcast. My name is Paul. I am the Country Hipster, and this is my brother.
Hey guys,
my brother Adam.
What's going on?
So, how you doing today, Adam?
I'm good. I worked. I was at work last night from about 6:30 p.m. to 6 o'clock a.m. and I have about maybe 12 minutes of having my eyes closed, not even sleep, just having my eyes closed. So. I'm solely fueled by Monster, Red Bull, and now Neshaminy Creek Warehouse Lager. So,
well, all right, and that is what we are drinking today here on the Country Hipster Podcast. Which one do you have there?
Currently drinking the Warehouse Lager.
Okay, and I have the Neshaminy Creek County Line IPA. So for those who don't know, Neshaminy Creek Brewing is a local brewery here in Pennsylvania. I believe their main first location is located in Croydon, Pennsylvania. Nice warehouse. Great beers. They have a bunch of different locations. One of them actually here in Bucks County in Dublin, PA, which I've not been to yet. So
I've seen pictures and it looks fucking beautiful.
Yeah,
so.
No, I definitely want to check it out. So back to that, the Ottsville Record Garage is where we are today, which is also located here in beautiful Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wait a second. Not only are we drinking Neshaminy Creek, but I currently am
wearing Neshaminy Creek. Yes.
When COVID hit, Neshaminy Creek had to basically lay off all of their wait staff and taproom staff, and basically all they had on staff were the brewers. So they made this shirt and sold it. I think it was like $30 a pop, and all the proceeds went to the people who they had to lay off.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because of COVID. So
yeah, I know there were also what you guys may need to know about me too, besides running a super cool podcast, is I'm also a musician. So I do play in a band called the Birmingham Six, and I also do solo music as well. And I was as a musician was hit during COVID, and what Neshaminy Creek did there for their workers, a lot of the restaurants and bars that we work at, kind of did the same thing. They started like GoFundMe's and all that, and so that was pretty cool. That was a cool thing. But yeah, so like I said, we are in beautiful Bucks County at the Ottsville Record Garage. And what is the Ottsville Record Garage? It is literally the garage in my house where I have a lot of records, and I run the website ottsvillerecordgarage.com. So just little thing here, it's not quite where I want it to be right now as we're recording this at the beginning of March. I'm still building the website, still adding content and whatnot. But by the time this is actually published, and you can listen to it or watch it on however you like to watch your podcast or listen to your podcast. Hopefully by that point the site will be fully live and whatnot. So full disclosure, this podcast is an advertisement for the Ottsville Record Garage. So yeah.
Just peddling. We're whores to the corporate.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And so, but what's with me personally, I get to do the Ottsville Record Garage and the Country Hipster Podcast because my wonderful wife let me quit my job after we had a baby. That was we got married back in June, and we had our.
You could say you got married in a fever.
I did. We did, because we got married when she was 3 months pregnant,
and you got pissed drunk. So.
Yes. Oh, I did get pissed drunk that day, didn't I?
It's all right. I actually I officiated Paul's wedding, and I was so relieved when you texted me like 2 weeks later saying that all of the paperwork came back, because when I signed your marriage license, I was fucked.
Yeah. That was a hell of a time. So, but yeah, so I am in my mid 40s, and I have a brand new baby who's 3 months old today, and it is my fourth child and first in 21 years. So, yeah, so people are like, "You're crazy. Why? You're so old and bald and gray, and you're having a newborn." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I feel like I'm like 20 years younger." So, so I got that going on. So, and personally, and it's all good. How about you there, sir?
I know we were doing ages.
We don't have to do ages.
I'm fuck, I forgot how old I was. I forgot what year it was for a second. I'm in my early 30s. I have 3 kids. For anyone listening or watching at home, don't have kids. If you get a fish, get a dog, get a fucking pet rock or something. Kids are the worst. They're just fucking leeches. I too, like Paul, am a musician, not as performing live as Paul does, but I do dabble a bit. I drink beer, I smoke menthol cigarettes, and I probably drink too many energy drinks for anyone to have a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah,
the energy drink part. The rest of it sounds.
I also work overnight, so I have minimal sleep.
Yes.
Yes, I'm just a poster boy for unhealthy living.
Yep. So, and you notice both of us here talking about music and our music backgrounds. So, if you haven't guessed by now, we are brothers, but we are literally brothers from a different mother.
Yeah.
So,
I say, do you want to explain season 1 and season 2?
I was about to say, okay. So we have the same father, and our dad and my mom got married right out of high school, pretty much, and then.
They got married in a fever.
Yes, they got married in a fever, and had 3 kids, with the third of those 3 being the best baby ever born, and that was me. And then, as things happen, they divorced, and our dad met Adam's mother, and then he had 3 more kids with them, and
then the last of that litter was the best child ever born, taking over Paul's spot.
That's true.
So I completely forgot about that. I actually remember that, like, as I was driving up, we were both the youngest of our seasons.
Yes, it is.
I'm the youngest of Dad's 6, but we're the youngest of our seasons.
Yes. So I refer to me and my 2 older brothers, full older brothers, as season 1, and then Zach, Kylie, and Adam are my younger siblings as season 2. And then as we had kids and stuff like that, we have season 3 and season 4 and stuff like that. And I think at this point we're up to like season 6 of the family sitcom, where we jump the shark, and I turn around and have season 2 of my own come in, and Adam was on Tinder there for a while.
I think you made the joke when you guys first told us that you and Katie were pregnant, that you were basically introducing cousin Oliver to the sitcom with. So
yes,
it's a whole. All we really need is, what was the fucking maid on
Alice? Yes, we did it.
What was the maid on the Jetsons?
Oh fuck! What was the maid?
Also, Alice?
Trudy.
No, Judy was his
daughter.
I'm gonna Google it.
Daughter, yeah, what the hell? Yes, Google that shit.
Shoot some shit. I'll fucking Google
it. We got to find out what the
Rosie
the robot. Rosie. All right, there you go. And there is my middle child from my season 1, Jack, who is our engineer and
apparently guy on the side.
Guy on the side. Yes, making sure we're keeping things in check and whatnot. So, but he's doing a great job. He's helping us out. He's going to be editing, and I say he's directing and producing our podcast, but he says he is neither doing any of those things, but is willing to edit them. So that's cool. We got that going for us.
I'm executive producing.
You're executive producing?
Yeah.
All right.
Still not cool. It just means I get to do coke and sleep with whores.
Yeah, but you would do that anyway.
That's true. I'm basically executive producing my life.
Yes, hence that's why we're here today. Yeah. So, and why we are here today is to talk about records, and this is the idea of this podcast, as I had explained to you, came from sitting around one day and working on the Ottsville Record Garage, and the idea of it. I have a lot of records on Discogs, and I decided I want to do this other website. And the idea was to, what can I do to kind of like cross promote it and whatnot? You could do the normal Facebook ads, Instagram ads, all that kind of shit. Yeah. And, Adam has
a plane to write your.
Yes. We're going to get, I was going to get the Blue Angels to fly by, down past the Wildwood Beach and have it say OttsvilleRecordGarage.com. But that's expensive, and I don't have any money. My wife has money. I don't have money. No. So I just want to make that very clear. So the idea came because Adam, why don't you talk about the other podcast which you are the co-host of?
I'm just a podcasting fiend. So the oldest of season 2, our brother Zach and I, probably I want to say I don't know, when did the lockdown happen in our area? Like
March of
2020.
Yeah. Yep.
So probably, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say we released our first episode in April of 2020. Do a podcast with our brother Zach called Summer Movie Club. Basically, the description of every episode is kind of the tagline for the podcast is two brothers watch, overanalyze, drink, and discuss. So basically, we'll pick a movie. Sometimes we do themes. Sometimes we just pick random movies. Sometimes we have people who listen to it suggest shit. And basically, we watch it, take notes on it, pick it apart, and then we get together, much like we're doing now, drink, and just talk shit for... I mean... Paul was actually on one of the episodes that I think the episode ended up being like 3 or 4 hours.
3 or 4. Yeah, I know you had to post it in like several different parts.
Yeah, it was a long one. Some of them get pretty lengthy. Every once in a while, we do episodes where we actually watch the movie while we're recording, so we're just discussing it live. And 9 times out of 10, we don't actually talk about the movie.
It happens.
Yeah, but yeah, so me and Zach have been doing Summer Movie Club for almost 3 years now. We've taken we took a hiatus for a little bit. I got promoted. Zach was trying to figure out a job and life. So we went on maybe a month hiatus for a bit. We actually just came off of a hiatus because not that long ago, our dad was in the hospital for 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yep.
So we just everything was just focusing around that shit. But actually, I have an episode that I have to edit and post, which is going to be The Empire Strikes Back.
Nice.
We said it took us 3 years to get a Star Wars movie, but at least we started with the best one.
Well, I just wanted to point out too that you also picked my favorite Star Wars movie and didn't have me on that podcast. So fuck you, but whatever.
No, we're doing the Phantom Menace next week.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm a huge Jar Jar Binks fan, so that'll be good.
Just love problematic Gungans.
So,
problematic Gungans is gonna be the name of my new punk band.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's like my buddy Tom, who I used to work with. He was gonna start a indie rock band called Black Cat Stevens. But I actually messaged him the other day. I said, listen, instead of an indie rock band, you do the band Black Cat Stevens, but it's a Cat Stevens tribute band, but everybody's dressed up as a black cat. So
it's like a weird what's that fucking McDonald Max Sabbath?
Yes, Max Sabbath. Yes, all Black Sabbath songs, but with McDonald lyrics and whatnot. Yeah. And my favorite, it's not even parodies. I guess it's kind of parodies, but I love. So you will find out from this podcast that as much as I play music and I love music, and I love records, that there are certain bands that people love that I fucking hate. One of those bands is Led Zeppelin. I do not like Led Zeppelin. So let me just say, before everybody's turning us right off, because how the hell do you not like Led Zeppelin? So the 4 of them, individually, amazing musicians, absolutely amazing musicians. But in my humble opinion, they've written 2 good songs. One of them is Rock and Roll. The other one is Tangerine. And that's it. The rest of it sucks, or they stole it from old blues people, which has legally been proven. So, but at any rate, I love Dread Zeppelin.
Which Dread Zeppelin? Is it a reggae version?
Yeah, it's a reggae version of all the Led Zeppelin stuff. But it's like a reggae / Elvis version of all the Led Zeppelin stuff. So it's you have Hound Dog / Black Dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's but that's so I do like Dread Zeppelin, even though I hate Led Zeppelin.
That's kind of
but where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so back to it, being on that podcast with Adam was a really good time, and I had a lot of fun. I think we got really drunk that night.
Yeah.
And then also my son, Jack, who you heard in the background there a few minutes ago, we worked together, and where we were working at together was about an hour away from where we currently live in Bucks County. So, being the good dad that I am, I would let him control the radio while we were going to and from work, because I really don't give a shit. And he would start playing these podcasts my brother and me, and The Yard, and El Chapo. Did I say that right? El Chapo? Chapo Trap House. There you go. I got to make sure we're dropping the names correctly. But you know, they were pretty entertaining, and I enjoyed them. And Jack used to say that I liked the yard so much because the one character talked like me. And then the one day I realized, shit, I may really talk like this character because like
he talks unintelligible and incoherently.
That and like he says things like you got to get the strange, and like everybody else on the podcast because they're all like in their like 20s, and I think he's like the oldest of the podcast. They're like, what the fuck does that mean? And I'm just like, yeah, I know what that means. So
Paul just driving, just puts his fist up in the air like, I hear you.
I was like, sometimes you got to get the strange, you know what I mean? So.
It's when you sit on your hand, right?
Yes, exactly. No, that's the stranger. So, but yeah, so and it was cool. And it's like I don't want to be one of those guys who's like, wow, everybody's doing a podcast. I can fucking do it better than anybody else. I don't know, man. This could suck, but we've committed to this for at least a year. So, this is our pilot episode, and you are you're into it. We're into it now. Yeah. So for the next.
We are 16 minutes into it,
yes,
according to the audio recording.
Yes, we're 16 minutes into it, and I don't know how to deduct that from the Rent song, so I'm not going to try to. Exactly. So, but you're that many. I didn't. Yeah, I was disappointed by Rent.
Oh, it's one of these buttons.
Yes, it's one of those buttons. Yes, we have
every cooler like this I've ever had has a side button, not a top button.
I think I have a cooler with a side button. You okay there? You good?
No, fucking. All right, listen. I love craft beer. The one thing I don't fucking love is how craft beer packages their 6-packs with these fucking plastic things.
See, I actually like the plastic things. I think it's actually easier to get the beer off than those turtle killer things.
See, that's the thing. Like, I think what it is, like, for me, it's easier for me to get it off with the turtle killers. But then it also gives me something to do. Like, it gives me a goal to work towards.
Killing turtles?
No. Because what I'll do... Like, literally, You mentioned that I was on Tinder. I was talking to a girl when I was on Tinder, and she said something about how she had a kid, and she said... Well, has a kid. She said her older son... like loves fucking loves sea turtles.
It's like
so I said, I was like, I'm like, every time I buy a 6-pack, I cut the fucking plastic thing. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, I didn't think anyone else besides me knew about that. I'm like, it's like the probably the most well-known save the planet movement of all time is don't choke the fucking turtles.
Right.
And also that's implying that the turtles don't like to be choked. So which is, I think, kind of presumptuous of us, and I don't think we should do that. But yeah, that's my goal. Like I power through my 6-pack as fast as I can, so I can cut up the fucking thing.
And you just almost tried to choke me.
And I've almost got it down to a science. Like, I figured out how to fold the thing, where I can literally make one cut, and cut all of the things that would choke a turtle.
Well, that's very interesting. We'll have to show that on the podcast.
Things you learn being an alcoholic.
Yes. But at any rate, yes, it came down to, what do I really like doing? And, I started Ottsville Record Garage because I like vinyl records. I used to work as a buyer for a now defunct online record store. That was back in like 2012, 2013 area. And I really liked what I was doing there. And I had briefly started with a couple guys I worked with. We had started a website called Internet Record Exchange. And it's one word of advice: if you're going to start a business, don't do it with your bosses. Pretty much is what it comes down to, because it was like an idea I had. Hey, let's do this like Internet Record Exchange. We'll sell used records, new records, blah blah blah. And my thought was like, hey, they'll get into this and they'll be interested in and invest in it. And they're my bosses at another business that I was working at, so obviously it wasn't going to work out. And then eventually that business ended up closing. It's when I was in the movie industry as a trafficker, which sounds way cooler than what it is. If you
it sounds seedy.
It does seedy. It sounds seedy as shit, but that's what I was. I was a trafficking manager. But basically that means you're the shipping guy.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much I shipped hard drives and thumb drives and movie posters to movie theaters all over the world. But that's what I did.
Did you send thumb drives of the movie drive?
No, we did not do the movie drive. That took me a second, but I caught on there what you were saying. We actually did not do many cool movies. Probably like the coolest movie that we did was we were the distributor for Kevin Smith's Yoga Hosers. So that flopped, which kind of tells you the level of distribution that we were on. But you know, it was it was cool. It was a cool movie, and we got experienced some cool stuff from that. And you know, we had some concert footage and operas and ballets and a few feature films. But you know, ultimately that business closed, so that ended Internet Record Exchange, and then just kind of chilling out and working a real job, and then getting into the podcasting stuff, like from listening to things. And I have literally thousands of vinyl records that I don't listen to all of them. My personal collection is probably only about, like, I'd say maybe 300 to 500 records. I never actually count it. But I literally, in this room right now, there's probably, if you include 45s and, your personal collection that's now housed here, there's probably 10 to 20,000 records in this room right now. Which is funny because
it's daunting. It's
daunting, but like, I have a lot of space for a lot more records. So, but
Katie will be thrilled.
So that's the thing. And that goes back to it, is that, my wife is extremely supportive of what I do. She literally, yes, we had a baby. So the point was, take care of the baby. That's my first priority. But she also let me quit my job to pursue my dreams. So if you ever meet a woman or a man or whatever you're into, and you're in a committed and long-lasting relationship with them, and they are willing to support your dreams, do everything you can to make that person happy. And that is my goal with Katie, to do everything I can to make her happy, because she is very supportive of me running an online business and taking care of our daughter and seeing where this goes. So as you say that, I need to sell records if I want to buy any more records. Yeah. So that's also kind of what we're doing here in the Ottsville Record Garage, is trying to sell records to support my addiction to vinyl records and buying vinyl records and listening to vinyl records. So we're going to talk about it, and hopefully we'll sell more records so I can buy more records. But yeah, no, there's a lot of room in here to fit probably another like 30 or 40,000 records. So that is my goal, is to sell enough records to just keep cycling in more records. And ultimately, that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about records and vinyl records. We're not necessarily going to talk about the inventory of the Ottsville Record Garage, because that is what it is. What is represented on Ottsville Record Garage isn't necessarily representative of the things that I would personally like or want to listen to or own. But that's the difference between business and personal. Yeah. So what we are going to talk about are records from our personal collections. So, which is cool. So what we've done is we've actually picked 25 records each from our personal collections. And every week we're going to talk about a different record from our personal collections, which actually brings us to these envelopes here. They are numbered 1 to 50. They are at random. 25 are Adam's, 25 are mine. We put them in these envelopes so we don't know what they are. And at the end of this episode, we're going to drop them into our box of Mike. Let's show the box of Mike. This is the box of Mike. Now, the oldest of both seasons is our brother Mike, and he is a huge Rush fan, and honestly was my first supplier of used records to sell, because I took his old records, and he used to be a DJ, and he was a DJ when everything was on vinyl. So I took all his stuff, and that's what I started selling. And so we made this box of Mike, which is all Rush record covers. No records are actually in there or harmed in the creation of the box of Mike.
Sorry, I'm just reading the track list.
Oh, that's okay. And it's crudely taped together, but that's what we're going to drop these envelopes into at the end of this episode, and we're going to pick one every week. The plan is to do this every week, and that's what we're going to talk about in next week's episode. So that's really what we're here to do today. So,
are you a Rush fan?
Okay.
Because I'll be honest with you, I know 3 Rush songs, and they're all on
Moving Pictures.
Moving Pictures.
I was going to say I am a Moving Pictures fan. I am not an overall Rush fan.
I said, not even that. Like, not only do I only know 3 Rush songs, and they're all on Moving Pictures, they're all on side 1 of Moving Pictures.
Okay.
All I know is Tom Sawyer, YYZ, and Limelight.
Okay.
Those are the only 3 that if like you play them, I'd be like, oh,
yeah.
If you played me some random ass like Bastille Day,
Yeah.
I could probably be like, oh, I know that dude's fucking voice, but.
Yep. Yeah.
The 3 that I actually know, and like I have YYZ on my playlist because I used to play it on Guitar Hero.
Okay, there you go. I will say in regards to Rush, there is no Rush in either one of our top 50 albums here. But if our brother Mike was on this podcast, there would probably be all Rush, but
All Rush,
and maybe some Yes. But you know, I don't feel about Rush the way I feel about Led Zeppelin. Rush is an amazing band, amazing musicians, amazing songs. I just never got into them, with the exception of Moving Pictures. But you know, that is a band too that if I had the opportunity, which I did have the opportunity, but just never took myself up on it, I would have loved to have seen Rush live.
That's something that I've always enjoyed about your musical taste, is that there's a few bands that I can think of where you're like, oh, I don't like them, but that one album that they made is good.
Yes.
I can think of one definitely that's one of my 25. And I think if a conversation that we had is true, I can think of one that's in your 25 that is part of that grouping as well.
That is true, and I will say that the album that's on yours, and I'm trying to be cryptic here, so you guys, you know, it's like a cliffhanger.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. The album that you picked for your 25, that I like the one album, it would have ended up on my 25 if you hadn't picked it on yours.
And it's funny because the copy that I have that I put on my 25, you gave me. Because I asked you how readily available was it, and you said, oh, you can just have my copy.
Yep. So there you go. Sometimes,
regardless, that specific copy would have ended up on
which is a great segue to what we're doing here today. So obviously we haven't dropped our top 50 yet. That was it's like you fucking do this.
It's like I've been podcasting for 3 fucking years. God, I'm good.
Yes. So since we haven't picked one yet from our 50 records, our 50 envelopes here, what we're going to talk about today are albums that we've given to people, and that kind of gives you an idea of what we're going to be doing here. So Adam, I'm gonna let you go first with your album that you've gifted.
So my album that I gifted, I actually gifted probably within the past couple months. My girlfriend and I were at, for those local to the Ottsville Record Garage, you will recognize Q-Mart. They have it's a dirt mall. It's a indoor section where some of the stores have been there since I've been going to this place since I was like 3 or 4 years old. And some of the stores have been there since I was 3 or 4 years old. And they're all fairly permanent establishments. And then on the outside of it is just like the craziest looking people you'll ever see selling the weirdest just mixture of bullshit. So it's a dirt mall, and one of the stores in the dirt mall is a record shop. So recently my girlfriend and I were at Q-Mart. I had been talking this place up to her for months and months, and I think it lived up to the expectation that I set on it. But we're looking in the record store, and she's sorting through, just flipping through records. And my girlfriend is she's a big metal fan. And she picks up an album and says, oh, this is my favorite Slayer album, which is Seasons in the Abyss. She picks it up. I would say Slayer is probably in her top 5 favorite bands. So she picks it up, is all excited. She's like, oh, this is my favorite Slayer album. This is great. And then puts it down and walks away from the store. And I was like, what the fuck? Like if I came across a copy of my favorite album by one of my top 5 favorite bands, I'm buying it. No questions asked. Do not give a shit. I'm buying it. No questions asked. So
I've done that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
On the inside of Q-Mart, a lot of the places, since they're, established and they've been there for a while, you could pay by card. But if you're buying people's junk from outside, it's generally cash only.
Yeah.
So neither of us had cash on us because it's 2023 and debit cards are a thing. And I said to her, let me go run to the Mac machine and grab cash. And luckily she's not too bright because she didn't realize how long I was gone just to run to a Mac machine. So I ran to the Mac machine and then ran to the record store and grabbed Seasons in the Abyss and brought it back and surprised her. She has a record player, but it's currently, I think, in the attic at her parents' house. So this album is been sitting on her shelf for 2-3 months now as just a display. I actually opened it for the first time the other day because she actually wanted to see the record itself.
So let me, real quick on that. So, when I started collecting vinyl again, I actually didn't even have a turntable. So,
really?
she, the fact that she has it packed away is really not that unusual. And it's actually kind of cool. And, but, I was the same way. I didn't, when I started collecting vinyl again, of course, growing up, that's all you could get was records and tapes and whatnot. And, tapes were cheaper, a little more convenient, even though, tapes sound like shit. It does sound better on vinyl. And
what's the line from Empire Records? He says, people say it doesn't make a difference, but I say it's the difference that makes it.
I don't know.
You never saw Empire Records?
I saw Empire Records a lot, but I'm not that. It's.
I do a movie podcast.
I know you do.
We covered Empire Records. Actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. No, I do like Empire Records. Pretty good cast. So my issue with Empire Records was because I was 20s when it came out or so, maybe mid to late 20s, and
you were of the age group of the people who would be in the movie. I think they were more towards late teens, early 20s.
Right.
Okay.
I think what bothered me at the time, and it was a really stupid thing at the time. I think what bothered me about Empire Records is, in my mind, I grew up on John Hughes movies. So if Empire Records was a John Hughes movie, I'd probably fucking love it. But in my mind at that time, Empire Records was trying to be a John Hughes movie, and that pissed me off.
It's funny that you say that because we covered on Summer Movie Club, we covered Breakfast Club and covered Empire Records the next week because Zach thinks of Empire Records as a modernized or a more modern version of Breakfast Club.
Yeah, no, that's not fucking true. Zach's an idiot. But Zach also did not realize that Jack Black was in High Fidelity.
It's true.
So, that is true.
Listen to the High Fidelity episode of Summer Movie Club to hear.
Yes. So, which did in fact have Jack Black in it. So I don't care what Zach says. He didn't mention it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, go on.
No, you're fine. So yeah, she was very excited when I gave her the record. I one time, it wasn't Tinder, I think it was Bumble. I was talking to a girl on Bumble, and literally within 5 minutes of starting conversation with her, she was sending me a link to do a test to figure out what my love languages are.
Oh.
And the very bottom of my love languages is receiving gifts. I fucking hate when people buy shit for me.
Yeah? What is your love language?
I think quality time.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it was quality time.
Mine's touch.
I think touch was second on my list.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, so I hate getting gifts from people. I hate when people make a big deal of me, which is weird because now I'm on 2 fucking podcasts.
The other thing that Adam hates is greeting cards.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Don't worry.
So what you should do is send Adam greeting cards to the Ottsville Record Garage, we will make sure that he gets them.
I fucking hate it. But I hate receiving gifts, but I enjoy buying things for people, especially if I know it's something that person really likes. I think that I like to think of myself as in a relationship. I don't like to give just generic ass gifts. I was really bummed out because for Christmas I asked Katie what she wanted for Christmas, and she literally texted me an Amazon link for it's essentially a brush with a hairdryer built into it.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
So
yeah.
and it just seems shitty. I prefer a more sentimental, personal gift.
Okay.
So I could see like her eyes fucking lit up when she picked that album out of the rack, and it hurt me to see her walk away from it. Because I've had that experience where I've walked into record stores and seen an album that honestly I wasn't even aware was on vinyl, and I saw it on vinyl, and it doesn't matter, I'm fucking buying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I bought it for her. She was very surprised. She was very happy. I bought it for her, and on the ride home back to her apartment, we listened to the album on iTunes. Because honestly, I don't listen to Slayer. I don't listen to I'll listen to an occasional like song. Like I know, listening to it, I knew War Ensemble, and I know like Raining Blood, and like big big shit.
So what do you think overall about this album? What's your feeling of Seasons of the Abyss?
I enjoy it.
Okay.
I was saying to Katie, I've realized that at least I don't know how if I like I said, I don't listen to a lot of metal, but at least this specific metal album, it's sped up punk. It's punk with the tempo turned up.
Okay.
It's literally especially if you listen to the drums, because I took fucking notes because that's what I do on my other podcast. Right off the bat, War Ensemble, it slaps you in the face and just like, this is like, we're gonna be metal as fuck right now. And on Blood Red, the second song, my note is I like Slayer's drums, and it's literally that same fucking do-cat just do-cat. It's just sped up. And one of the fucking songs, which one? Let me scroll down. And Born of Fire is punk. It sounds like a fucking punk song. It's punk as fuck. So I enjoyed it. There's definitely songs on it that I think are better than others. Fucking the album ends with Seasons in the Abyss, and it's fucking 6 minutes long, and it sounds like two songs that someone just cut and pasted together. Because it's literally like a 2-minute intro with no vocals.
Yeah.
Of like one riff.
That's kind of like,
and then switches to a completely different riff.
Yeah, that's like a staple of like that like 80s metal and especially the thrash metal and whatnot. So, which
was another thing that I wanted to say. This album, I said to Paul before we started recording, this album came out like a month and a half before I was born.
Yeah,
came out in October of 1990.
Was it that? Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the the funny thing about this is that I honestly wish I had read my text messages correctly and realized that we would be talking about Seasons in the Abyss and not Raining Blood. Because when I thought it was Raining Blood, which I tried to listen to 3 times in completion, the first thing I thought about that was, God, this is why I don't like Slayer. Yeah. And it was like, all right, Slayer, when we mentioned, this is what we were going to do for, for your gift record. I was just like, okay, Slayer, that could be different. I haven't listened to Slayer in a while.
Now, real quick, let me interrupt you and ask you a question. I think I've only ever bought, 2 records for people. One was Seasons of the Abyss for my current girlfriend, and one was an album for my ex-wife that I believe I may have bought from you.
I think you did. Yeah, is this that Britney Spears?
No, I didn't buy her. I didn't buy her Britney Spears. So, which would you have rather have listened to?
Wait, what was it?
Raining Blood, under the pretense that it actually was Raining Blood that I bought for somebody, or a Hanson album?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's tough. That's right. You did get the Hanson now. Ah, God. Oh. Yeah, I think Rain and Blood. I think I'd rather talk about Rain and Blood than
I will say that
Hanson.
The Hanson album that I bought for her was at the time recent. At this point, it's been
a few years.
It's been at least 5 or 6 years since the album came out. The newer Hanson, it's still generic. It's still generic and it's still kind of shit. But it's leaps and bounds from Mbop.
Okay, all right. Well,
it's actually a digestible, excuse me, listenable
Okay.
pop rock album.
So, funny story about Mbop, just to kind of veer off into a different direction real quick, is when I was working in the movie business, our offices were in downtown Philadelphia, and there was a bar that we used to go to around a lot, like for lunch or like after work or whatever. And the bar's now closed. COVID ended up closing a lot of bars. That was one of them.
What was the bar?
It was the Bards.
Oh,
right on Walnut Street there by like 20th and Walnut. It was funny because you had the Irish pub, and next to the Irish pub was the Bards, which are both Irish themed bars. The Bards, the food was a little better, and it was a little smaller, a little darker. We tend to do better in darker places. So what was funny is
you tend to do better in darker places.
Yes.
The name of the new emo song that I'm writing.
There you go. So my boss in his office, for whatever reason, could still connect to the jukebox at the bar. It's just the way, like,
Oh, they had the touch tunes?
Yeah, they had the touch tunes.
Yeah.
So just randomly, he would just go on and play Mbop.
So my girlfriend is from Delco,
Oh, God.
as we locally refer to it. So the first time that I met her, she's got 3 kids. So the first time I met her on Tinder. The first time I met her, I said, "Hey, I'll pick you up," and she said, "Hey, would you mind if I met you, at a bar by my house, so that way, I can make sure you're not a serial killer before you know where my kids live."
Right.
And I was like, "That's completely understandable, absolutely." So the bar that we met at,
And now you're around her kids, and she knows you're a serial killer.
exactly,
So it's okay.
yeah. So the bar that we met at is this bar on Westchester Pike down in Upper Darby called Busty's. And a block and a half up from Busty's is Collie's. And they both have touch tunes.
Oh, jeez.
And, like, basically from what she's described to me, like, people would get done their shift at Collie's and then go, like, drink at Busty's and vice versa. And then there are some people who worked at both of them.
Okay.
So apparently there was just this, like, playful feud going on where people at Busty's would play weird shit on Collie's touch tunes and vice versa. It's like,
Okay.
That's kind of fucking rad.
Nice.
So I can get behind that.
That's good.
But yeah, on the whole, I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm going to be a Slayer fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think I kind of have to be by default, just by who I'm dating.
I understand. That's like I have to like John Denver and Dolly Parton now.
Yeah.
So
So I don't think I'm going to become a Slayer fan. I do enjoy this album.
Mm-hmm.
I realized from listening to this album, I've been playing guitar. It's 2023. I started playing guitar in 2004.
okay.
Like, I started legitimately playing guitar. I had a shitty student guitar a couple years before that, but I bought my first electric guitar the summer before my freshman year of high school. So I've been playing guitar for 19 years, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot, and will never be able to play metal music.
So it's funny because as I was listening to Rain and Blood, now I also want to say that when Adam got here today for us to film, and I realized I had the wrong album. We did listen to Seasons in the Abyss,
Yeah.
and I do actually overall enjoy Seasons of the Abyss much more than Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
Again, still don't know, if Slayer's my cup of tea, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. It's just, there's a lot of stuff that's not my cup of tea. But it is definitely much better than Rain and Blood. But one of the things I was thinking of when I was listening to Rain and Blood 3 times was that, like, metal guitar is, and again, this is another one of those situations where I know that these musicians are so fucking talented, right? So
Yeah.
it is very difficult to play that fast, that accurate, that much in time, and be that tight. Especially when they were recording this stuff, they weren't doing it with click tracks. They weren't doing it, drums today and then guitar tomorrow and bass this other. No, they just were in a room and they were just playing, and they were on. And I'm sure if you put a metronome to any one of like those like to any of like the speed metal stuff, whether it be, Slayer or Metallica or, I can't even think of like King Diamond, any of these like
happy
battles.
that you mentioned Metallica.
But like, you put a metronome to them, and I guarantee that shit is right on because that's how tight those bands were. So I'm not taking anything away from it, but like the thing that that kind of hit me too was like when you think about the guitar solos. Number one, a lot of those guitar solos are scales. You're doing scale, and you have to practice the shit out of that. And you know that these like guitar players are like classically trained guitar players. So you put like like an acoustic guitar, and they're playing like Beethoven and shit, or they're playing the solo to Rain and Blood. Yeah. But the other thing that hit me was like as I was listening, it was like it was almost like the solos are kind of like it's almost like scat jazz.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just like, and that's what it kind of reminded me of. But like, I am very happy to not have to listen to Rain and Blood again. And good that it's Seasons of the Abyss or In the Abyss.
I'm really happy that you mentioned Metallica because when I was listening to the album, I was 4 songs in on Expendable Youth. Mm-hmm. And my girlfriend will be very upset if and when she hears me say this, because she hates Metallica.
We can edit it.
Her favorite, my girlfriend's favorite band is Megadeth. So I sent her a thing the other day. I sent her, if anybody follows the Hard Times News on Instagram, I sent her a thing the other day that said Dave Mustaine kicks out all the members of Metallica and then renames the band Megadeth. She is very much Team Mustaine in that argument.
That is so.
But when I was listening to this, when I was listening to especially Expendable Youth, if I didn't know that this was Slayer and you put it on for me, I would assume it was Metallica.
Yeah, nah. So okay, so, oh god, that's like the Team Edward, Team Jacob bullshit of like metal music is the whole Metallica Megadeth thing. Like honestly. Oh God, I'm glad actually it came up because like Metallica and Megadeth are just like I get it. Mustaine was in it before they became famous, blah blah blah, and they kicked him out because apparently he was too much of an alcoholic for Metallica. Yeah. But they're so like they're such different bands. Mm-hmm. Like even what they became like Metallica and Megadeth, like I guess there's a direct line because they're like in the same genre and at one point they were all in the same band, but like they're so different. You know what I mean? Honestly, I'm not a big. And if it came down to it, if you put a gun to my head and said, Metallica or Megadeth, I'm picking Metallica. But like, not by much. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't particularly care for either one of them. Actually, I don't care for Metallica after Master of Puppets. So I'm one of those guys. I'm one of those old, that didn't make anything. Cliff Burton was amazing. Well, Cliff Burton was amazing. That's not why, I don't like anything from like Injustice for All. I just don't think the stuff's as good. And it's nothing to do with Cliff Burton getting crushed by a bus.
Next week we'll be covering Saint Anger.
Yes, there you go.
On the topic, real quick, of me knowing that I'll never be able to play metal music on guitar. When I was in high school, I hung out with 2 kids that all they did was listen to death metal. Okay. Like their favorite bands were like Cannibal Corpse and like Pig Destroyer. And at least, I could probably think of at least 5 times where both of them have tried to teach me how to play pinch harmonics.
Okay.
And I can't fucking do it.
Yeah, no, either can I. That shit's hard. Like, metal musicians are amazing. Whether or not you like metal or you do like metal, you don't like metal, you have to look at the musicianship behind metal, especially when it's like that fast thrash metal like that. It's so technical. You have all these different parts going on, and you have the drums where like just da 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 da, and somehow it all melds and they're all in time and it's all amazing. Whether or not you like it's a different thing. You can't take away the musicianship and like how technical those things are. It's not just people screaming into a microphone. Whether that's what you hear or not, you have to look at it beyond that. So that's...
we actually had this conversation the other night because we were talking. Our brother-in-law, he refers to himself as a stagehand. He sets up concerts and plays and stuff like that. And he was setting up. He was doing basically the tech rehearsal for a John Mayer concert. And we were saying, me and Paul were both saying, John Mayer is amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that he is a very, very good guitar player. And I would probably say of this generation, he's probably one of the best guitar players from this generation.
Okay.
But I don't give a shit about his music.
Yeah, no.
I don't care about their body being a wonderland.
My body's a wonderland.
Your body is a wonderland. And that's why I'm on the podcast.
It's all over the place. So, you know what I mean? Like,
there's peaks and
there's
valleys.
Peaks and valleys and maybe some big hills. You know what I mean? You go up this roller coaster and then you go straight down.
There's that lake in The Simpsons where the power plant empties into, and they have three-eyed fish.
Yes. Yeah. That's my body.
Yeah.
Seasons in the Abyss by Slayer, a much better album than Rain and Blood, and was.
I think on the way home now, I'm going to listen to Raining Blood just to.
You should.
Because literally the only song I know from it is Raining Blood. Mm-hmm. So.
Which actually isn't even the best song on that album.
No.
So there's the probably the best, and that was the thing when I was listening to Rain and Blood, the first song, which I don't remember what the name of it was, I'm like, okay, I think I can get into this. And then by song 3 or 4, I'm like, oh my god, now I remember why I don't listen to Slayer.
Yeah.
I will not go so far as to say that Slayer sucks. I will not say that. There are bands that I will say that band sucks. Slayer's not one of them. So I don't like them. It's not what I would listen to, but but that is that. So
Paul.
Yes.
We have a second album that
we do have a second album we're going to talk about. So, but to talk about this album first, before you even bring it up,
I'm just shifting it over so it's easier for you to grab it.
Okay, cool, thank you.
I'll take this off the
there you go.
Off the rack.
So what I need you to tell our audience, which we have 7 subscribers as of right now, which is 2 more than we had last week, so that's pretty fucking awesome.
And 2 of those subscribers are currently on camera right now.
And my wife, who is upstairs, is subscriber number 3. And Jack, have you subscribed yet?
He's like, fuck no.
I have no idea.
Jack's like, I don't listen to hip hop.
Jack is subscribed to 2,000 different YouTubers, and he's the one who actually told us to put this on YouTube, which is why we're doing a video podcast and not just an audio podcast. So he doesn't know if he's subscribed to us or not, which I'm going to say is his nice way of saying, Dad, you're fucking lame. I'm not subscribing to your dumb podcast, which is fine. So speaking of kids and our lameness, so my record that I gifted went to Adam's oldest daughter, Haley. Now, tell our audience who Haley is.
Pain in the ass.
Okay.
So, I like to joke that I was Teen Mom before Teen Mom was a thing.
But Teen Mom was on.
No, I think I predated Teen Mom.
Did you?
Hold
on, let's see.
Hold on. So I like to say this so I can watch people's. 2009?
Yes.
Dude, I fucking
predated.
I got Teen Mom beat. That's what's up.
All right. You were the inspiration of Teen Mom.
Fuck Teen Mom. So I always like to tell people this story just so I can watch them pause and kind of stare off into space while they're doing math. So I am 32. I'll be 33 at the end of this year. And in June, my oldest will be 18. So my daughter was born the last week of my freshman year of high school. It was 2005. So my birthday's in November, so I was 14 going on 15 when she was born.
Mm-hmm. And then, okay, so let's back up a second there, because this is my favorite part. So you were 14 going on 15, right? And she's born in June, which means you were banging when you were 13 because your birthday's in November.
So I figured this out. So I got her mom pregnant when I was 13.
Uh-huh.
I turned 14 in November.
Uh-huh.
And then she was born the following June, and then that November I turned 15.
And so not to get his ex-girlfriend arrested, how old was she when you got her pregnant and then when Haley was eventually born?
She's the same age as Zach, so she's 3 years older than me. So when I was 13 getting her pregnant, she was 16.
Oh, okay. And then she was 17.
And then she was 17 when Haley was born. So
right, so you didn't get to go to her prom, but you got to fuck her and get her pregnant.
Yes. My daughter was born I think I want to say less than a week after she graduated high school.
There you go.
Yeah.
So there you go. So
I'm like one of those pimps you read about.
Yes. This is Adam. So yeah, I don't even know where to go with that. But now let's okay. So Haley is an amazing teenage daughter that I know he considers a pain in the ass. I consider her amazing, and she also calls herself Hale Amazing. So
HL amazing.
Hell yes. So why? What also makes her amazing?
What makes her amazing is that I can't remember. I used to be an EMT, so I used to know these things, but I can't remember what age kids are supposed to start doing things, like reaching milestones. Mm-hmm. And one of the milestones that kids generally reach when they're fairly young is they're supposed to start tracking motion with their eyes. And our father realized one day that she wasn't. And so we brought my daughter to get tested, and it turns out that she was born blind. So the disorder that she has is called, I can never remember the order. It's either it's congenital. Congenital Leber's amaurosis is what she has. CLA is what they abbreviate it to. And basically what it is it's almost like the flu. There's different variants of it. So some people have some vision. Some people can see lights and shadows. Some people can see shapes and shit. She's completely in the dark. I forget, she refers to herself as something. I can't remember what. It's like something it's something like zero or something like that. I can't remember exactly what she refers to herself as. But yeah, she's completely blind. She walks with a cane. She reads Braille. She, what I've recently thought of doing is like, because me and her, she's she's a 17-year-old, so 17-year-old girls are a pain in the ass. So me and her have been kind of having a what's the word I'm looking for? Not a
conflict.
Not conflict. I was gonna say a little rocky
difference of opinions.
Yeah, a little rocky relationship at the moment.
As is normal with any 17-year-old girl and her father.
Yeah. So what I was
especially when her father's only 13.
Yeah.
So
what I was gonna do the other day. The other day I was winning my daughter's love with buying her things.
Yes.
She was complaining about her phone, so I took her to the store and we upgraded her phone. And I was really thinking on the way back, I was just going to find a empty parking lot and
kill her.
No, well, depending on how well she did, I was going to find an empty parking lot and let her drive my car.
That's like some straight son of a woman shit.
Yeah,
there. That's pretty
exactly.
awesome.
That's what I was going for. I want to be the fucking Robin to her Pacino.
Okay.
So she's completely blind. She, I asked her to give you the idea of who my daughter is. When she was younger.
Wait, I'm sorry. You should continue that thought. But we have 3 acres of property here, man. We can make that happen.
That's what I mean.
All right. We might have to make that happen. That might end up on the podcast where we allow.
It's just me riding shotgun, you in the back seat, holding your phone,
while
blind kid
our
driving.
Blind daughter and / niece is driving around our 3 acres.
That could be what's up.
Jack, can you edit that in pretty well? Would that work?
A lot of handycam shit. To give you the idea of who my daughter is, when she was younger, I asked her if she would want a seeing eye dog, and she told me she's a cat person.
Yes.
So she's an asshole. Not because she's a cat person. Cat people are fine.
Yeah.
Just the fact that she, was. I presented her with this awesome option of, having a guide dog, and she was like, like cats. Like, quit being a fucking asshole. Yeah. So my daughter's blind, and Paul...
Yes, I thought I was going to be the cool uncle, because also she likes to sing.
She does.
She is she's an amazing singer. She's also...
if you search Hailey Lee, HAILEYLEE music on YouTube, There's a bunch of videos of me playing guitar while she sings a bunch of country songs that I hate.
And she has a great voice, and she also was in dance for a little while.
Yeah.
She goes to
Currently goes to, yeah. She'll be graduating. She's currently in her senior year, graduates in June.
Of the High School of the Performing Arts. So I mean, the kid's talented. She's got her shit together, and she's good at what she does. And I'm thinking like, oh man, that's awesome. So my little background here with this too is that I learned how to play clarinet when I was in high school, and I actually got pretty good at it. And the person who taught me how to play clarinet was blind.
I didn't know that.
Yes, yeah. So he's blind, and his name is Bill Douglas. He's an amazing jazz musician, and that is who taught me how to play clarinet. And that was,
dude,
yeah.
There's something so fucking sexy about being a blind jazz musician.
Oh, I know, right?
Like, it's so fucking rad.
So okay, so here is the fucking craziest thing, and I've noticed this a few times with Haley about blind people is so. When I was in high school, my friend and I...
They can't catch.
They can't catch, but... Don't put their hands out, but they can't catch it. We're going to hell. But anyway...
that's not the first thing I'm going to hell for.
It is amazing because like a couple things that like Mr. Douglas like said to us, we were like, holy fuck. So me and a friend of mine were auditioning for this thing in Philadelphia. I don't know if they still have it, but at one point in the Philadelphia School District, they had this thing in high schools called All Catholic Band. So it was like the best musicians.
Paul went to Catholic school. I went to public school. For public school, they referred to it as All City.
Well, okay. So here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing about that is that All City Band, okay, I was able to audition for All City Band, but people who went to public school could not audition for All Catholic Band. So yeah, so I was auditioning for All Catholic Band with a friend of mine, and we're both nervous because it's kind of like a big deal. It's like one of those like band nerd high school things where it's like, oh god, this is like so important. It's like, it's like Johnny's trying to win the big game, except that we're playing, Mozart and shit. Yeah. So we're going to audition, and he and I are outside. Me and my buddy were outside, and to calm our nerves, we're smoking, which I don't really smoke that much. I never really smoked that much, but so we're smoking to calm our nerves. He smokes a lot.
Being a smoker and being a smoker who's around Paul smokes a lot.
No, I smoke all of your cigarettes.
That's what I mean.
But if you're not around me, I don't touch a cigarette.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't fucking care. I'm one of those people that like when people are quitting smoking, I'm that person who they're pissed off at because like I could just be like, no, I'm just not going to smoke.
Honestly, I was I smoked from when I was 16, 17 through to 21. 21 was when I started dating my ex-wife.
Okay. And then you start smoking a lot.
And I quit smoking from 21 to 28, basically the entirety of the time that I was with my ex.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I just quit cold turkey.
Right.
I went to work one weekend and I had like half a pack of cigarettes with me. I was working a 12-hour shift, and I was like, all right, when I smoke this cigarette, when I smoke this last one, that'll be the last one.
Yeah.
I quit for 8 years.
Yep.
One failed marriage later.
There you go. So I tried to do the same thing with soda, and several failed marriages and relationships later, I am a diabetic. So
There you go.
But now my diabetes is under control. So there you go. But
What's that old guy with the mustache?
what?
The diabetes.
Oh yeah, water. Yeah, what is it? Water, whatever it is. Yeah, diabetes. Yeah. But at any rate, so yeah, so I am that annoying smoker who could just be like, yeah, I'm not going to smoke anymore. But then I go and hang out with you, and I'll be like, especially when I'm drinking, I'll be like, oh, yeah, let me bum a
Well, that's
cigarette.
what I always tell people. Is like, for me, when smoking I only smoked when I was drinking.
Uh-huh.
And then it turned into I was only smoking when I was awake.
Right.
So
But yes, so back to the album. So I'm trying to be this cool uncle, right? So I have this like, oh, fuck, yeah. So that's the thing. Okay, so we were outside and we were smoking. I didn't even finish the story. I'm smoking with my buddy Frank, and because we're all nervous, we're trying to calm our nerves, all this kind of stuff, and we see our clarinet teacher walking up, Mr. Douglas. You know, he's being led by somebody, and Frank's like, "Don't say anything. I can't talk to him right now. Just, you know." I'm like, "All right, cool." So we just stay silent. We're smoking our cigarettes, like whatever, because he was one of the judges of the audition. Then we go in, we do our audition.
Seems like a conflict of interest.
A little bit, yeah, but it's all right. So, well, it was a. So here's the thing. So here's the funniest fucking thing about all Catholic band. When you're auditioning, it's a blind audition. So
It's a double blind.
but here's the funniest part about it is it's a blind audition, meaning that the people who are judging you have their backs to you.
Yeah. It's like The Voice.
Yes. Mr. Douglas
Was Adam Levine.
probably, yes. But not only is he blind, but he had his back to us. So it's like, what the fuck? You can't, you know. But at any rate, so you know, me and Frank are out there smoking, and then like I have my lesson with him the following like Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was. And he's asking me, he's like, "Oh, so how do you feel your audition went and whatnot?" And I was just like, you know, I'm talking to him, like, I probably could have done this a little bit better. I fucked up my scales, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, "Okay, all right, well, you know, we'll see when your scores come in." He's like, "So why were you and Frank smoking? I didn't know you guys were smokers." And we're like, "What the fuck, man? Like, Jesus Christ, like, how did he pick that up?" Yeah. You know what I mean?
I just imagine, like, so what do you think you could have done different? It's like, "Oh, I fucked up my scales." Like, yeah, maybe you also shouldn't have been smoking before playing a reed instrument.
Exactly. It's just like, Jesus fucking Christ. So it's like, I have seen Haley do shit like that. You know what I mean? Where
Haley had the ability to hear how you were coming down the steps.
Yes.
And knew who was coming down the steps by your cadence, the weight of the step, and like just so she has definitely. Did you ever see Daredevil?
I have, like, briefly, and it's horrible.
It's exactly like Daredevil.
Okay, it is exactly. Yeah, I can see that.
My daughter is Ben Affleck.
Oh yeah, I see the resemblance.
Yeah.
All right. So to be super cool uncle who has a blind niece who is also a musician, and I've learned music from a blind musician, and at the time I think she was like probably pre-teenish or early teenish, and girl power and all this kind of stuff, and for me to try to be like, you could do anything, I bought her a copy of Stevie Wonder's Talking Book, which is right here, which the cool thing about this record is also the liner notes. Bring it a little bit closer there, Adam. The liner notes are in Braille.
The title right there.
Yes.
And then this is my copy, which survived a flood, which is why it's so fucked up. Actually, this is Haley's copy.
Yes, technically Haley's copy, but that's what we'll get to.
If you could see the embossing of the Braille, all of the liner notes and the album name, title, and artist are in Braille.
So my thought is, let me get this record for my niece who is blind, and it's in Braille, and she can hear this wonderful musician named Stevie Wonder sing these amazing songs and play these amazing songs, and you know, try to connect with her at some point. And her reaction was
cool.
Yeah, like kind of cool, like whatever. She didn't even get...
she's a punk ass teenager.
Yes.
She's the, hey, do you want to get a guide dog? I'm a cat person.
Yeah.
She's a punk ass teenager.
She was probably pissed off that it wasn't country music. Well, no, actually, at that point, she was in rap. She was into rap,
It was
right?
bumble rap. Yeah, at that point, she was into Future.
Yeah, so it's like,
she was into fucking Molly Percocet. Molly Percocet.
It's well, I don't even know what that means.
You don't want to.
You know, but she wasn't
Jack
you know, into she wasn't into Stevie Wonder in the least bit. But like, this album it's fucking amazing. Like,
I mean, let's be fair. How many, I'm going to throw a race on it. How many 13-year-old white girls are into Stevie Wonder?
That's not the point. It's just, you know, it was a connection thing.
You saw it that way when you gave me that record and I saw that it had the Braille. I was like, that's fucking amazing. Because she said to me, if, you know, a lot of movies that we watch now, they have what's referred to as a descriptive track, where if there's any audible action that happens on the screen, almost like a commentary track will describe what's happening for visually impaired or blind people. So, for instance, if Paul and I are having a conversation and Jack enters the room, this track will say Jack enters the room. And she's constantly said, You know, why aren't all movies made that way? Why isn't that like a law that, you know, you go to a movie theater and every single movie that you go see, you can see with subtitles. Everything on TV, you can see with subtitles.
So funny thing about that is a law.
Yeah.
Which I was previously married to this marriage, and my ex-wife is a court reporter, a very talented court reporter, very successful one. And when she was in school, one of the things that happened was this law was passed about having to have the closed captioning. And one of the opportunities that opened up for court reporters was to do this. So when you're watching a live broadcast, it's a court reporter doing their stenography on there that's coming up on the screen.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the opportunities she had at that time. She ultimately decided to go into court, but it is kind of funny that is a law that everything, television, movies, whatever it is that's visual, has to be closed captioning, but they don't have the descriptive stuff.
Yeah, it's not at the moment it's not a law that it has to be descriptive. I mean, she says to me all the time, like, why is that? I'm like, because sadly, if we made laws based on the outlier, we'd have the most ridiculous fucking laws in the world.
Which we are not a political podcast, so we're not going to get into that. But,
no. Like, I've said it. I was like, you know, sadly, at the end of the day, you're not the norm.
Yes.
And you don't.
Thank God, she's not the norm.
Yeah. I was like, you make rules of society based on the mass, not the few.
Yes.
So I was like, maybe one day we'll get to that point where every single movie that's made has to be made with a descriptive tracker. You can see it in thing. But when Paul handed me that record and I saw, I'm like, my daughter has a machine that types in Braille. It looks like an old timey fucking typewriter, and you have to put in cards.
Oh, Timmy! Sing us off, Timmy.
Exactly. She has to smoke a really big, comically large cigar with a Hitler mustache while she uses it.
I could see her doing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
While
watching SpongeBob.
I know it's not an easy. It's not just I can. Paul has a bunch of notes written down right here. This took 3 seconds. It takes.
Oh, come
time,
on! I'm dyslexic. It took 10 seconds.
It took 10 seconds. It takes time and effort to emboss something with Braille.
Yes.
And I've seen it. And I've seen. You ever been to Cheesecake Factory?
Yes.
How many pages is Cheesecake Factory?
Oh my God! It's like 60 pages.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
One time we walked into a Cheesecake Factory and the hostess saw that she had a cane and said, "Do you want the Braille menu?"
Ah, wow!
It was like a fucking phone book.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Which actually that makes so much sense because the guy who taught me how to play clarinet, all of his music was in Braille.
Yeah.
So that's some like fucked up shit too when you think about that and how amazing like blind people, and I don't think blind people look at it as like I'm overcoming this. I think they just do it. But he would sit there and
especially in Haley's sense because she was born that way,
right?
So she doesn't know any better.
Yeah, and he would sit there and he would just go over like a line of music with his hand, and then would turn around and play it.
Yeah.
So like, not only do you have to be able to know what those dots mean, but then you have to be able to fucking remember that shit and turn around and basically regurgitate it. It's like, what the fuck? That is amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. That's one of the other reasons why, I wanted to get her this album was to say like, hey man, you are amazing. What you do and what you live with every day, which to her is just life. Yeah. To like me or you would be like, what the fuck? I'm gonna, I can't do this.
Like,
when
I remember when you gave me the album to give to her. I remember explaining to her and getting choked up a little bit because, like, I'm sighted. And piano's fucking difficult. I can dabble in piano, but it's fucking difficult.
Yep.
Stevie Wonder can't see what the fuck, where the fuck his hand... I
fucking
can find middle C real quick because I can fucking see it.
Uh-huh.
Stevie Wonder can't.
Nope.
So, like, it kind of...
Well, actually, I'd say he probably could at this point.
Well, I mean, like... but that's what I mean, but, like, just muscle memory. But, like... Piano's fucking... It's difficult.
Yep.
So the fact that, like, there's a musician who... How many fucking... Like, Stevie Wonder is probably, like...
Oh, yeah. He's amazing. He's one of the most amazing musicians ever.
One of the...
Great voice, great musician, great songwriter,
and the fact that he does all of that without being able to see his primary fucking instrument.
Yep.
Like, we're at the point now where we can play guitar and we don't have to look at the neck to see what we're playing.
Yes.
he never
he
had
never the option
of
to look at the
keys all.
fucking keys. Yep.
So when I gave it to her, it was almost like handing her saying something like, "You got dealt a shitty hand, but you can fucking pull out a royal flush with that hand if you want to."
Yep. And she was like, "Cool."
Yeah, she was like, "Cool, bro." Like, fuck
She's like,
you, man.
It's like whatever. But which brings us back to this amazing album that I've listened to a few times since this is what we said we were going with, and I mean, you talk about good albums, about groundbreaking albums. I'm actually good right now. I'm good, thank you. It starts off right away with like "You Are the Sunshine of My Life," and it's just like, all right, yeah, man, like this album. When I listen to this,
the note I have for "Sunshine of My Life," just a solid fucking pop song.
Solid fucking pop song, and it's one of those, like, every single song on this album. I actually, like, to be honest with you, I never really sat down and listened to Talking Book.
No.
Never did I listened to it to do this podcast, and was like, I know every single one of these fucking songs.
So that's the thing. You gave Haley this album, and it's been sitting with the rest of my records for however fucking long ago you gave it to her, and I never fucking listened to it. So I knew "Sunshine of My Life." I was looking at it on iTunes, and I was like, "Oh shit, Superstition's on this fucking album."
Well, that leads, like, Superstition starts side 2 of the album.
Yeah,
and I mean, like, a lot of albums you think, oh, you put all the hits at the front and all the filler at the back, but like they threw Superstition right in the fucking middle. And I will tell you, that guitar sound and that riff, that one bump 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 bump, like that there is like so. To my knowledge, and I could be wrong, to my knowledge, that is like, there's a ton of bands that use that sound now. That's the first one to do it. And I could be wrong about that, but like, and that's just like, God damn, yes, that is such a recognizable guitar sound, a tone, and it's just like, yeah, man, that is amazing.
My the note that I took, my first impression note that I took for Superstition, I used to work at a CVS, and Superstition used to play on the radio in CVS at least once a shift. Have you ever had the song Superstition playing while just walking?
No. Okay. All right. I'll have to try that.
Listen,
I'll try it.
Put it on your headphones and just start walking. Your brain and your body just sync up, and you instantly start walking to the tempo.
Nice.
Same thing with Another One Bites the Dust.
Oh, yeah. No. Okay. I can see that. Yeah.
Walking to the tempo of Superstition. And it's like, you're like, oh shit. Like,
okay. Nice.
That pause one bad mother, shut your mouth.
Yep. But like, yeah, I mean, I guess the 3 biggest songs on this album are "You Are the Sunshine of My Life," which leads off the album; "Superstition," which is the first song on the second side of the album; and then "I Believe When I Fall in Love It'll Be Forever," which is the last song on the album, and ironically is the song in the closing credits for the movie High Fidelity, which does indeed star Jack Black.
I was trying to
Jack Black.
I was trying to think if Jack Black was in anything with Kevin Bacon, so I could quickly follow it up with that, but I don't think he was. So there's 2 songs on the way I listen to. I was telling Paul the way that I'm going to listen to the albums for this podcast are basically the way I've listened to albums when I first bought them growing up. Was that I would listen to them all the way through, and then I would go back and I would listen to them all the way through while reading the lyrics for them. I did not do that with these 2 albums.
Yes. Honestly, it's probably something I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
So
what I did do is I put the album on, and the first thought that came to my mind when the song came on was the note that I wrote down. So of the, how many songs does this fucking album have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
10
6,
songs.
7, 10
There's 10 songs.
2 songs I don't have notes for.
Okay.
Because nothing.
Yeah.
It just kind of struck me as whatever.
Uh-huh.
Big Brother and Blame It on the Sun.
Okay.
Nothing came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said a second ago, Sunshine of My Life is a great fucking pop song.
Yep.
Superstition, amazing. It's just it's such a good song. Great song if you just want to walk somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can see that, man. It's like you know, like people make those like workout like playlists. That should probably be on somebody's workout play. Like if you're doing cardio, then I'm gonna do some fucking cardio.
I believe when I fall in love, it'll be forever. I hate weddings. I hate going to weddings.
Yeah. Mine was awesome though, right?
Yours. I would say yours was probably the best wedding that I've ever been to, including the one that was my own. But I believe when I fall in love, it'll be forever. Probably like just in a great upbeat wedding song. And there was another one on the album, You and I, is another solid wedding song.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yep.
But yeah, just like all in all, like even though those two songs, like they were just like, you know, whatever. It's a good fucking album.
Yep.
Like this album has literally been sitting in my collection for I don't know.
Years.
At least 5 to at least.
I was gonna say it was probably like 5 or 6 years ago.
5 or 6 years ago. And
has Haley ever actually listened to it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put it on for her. And
forced her.
I put it on for her, and I could tell that she just wasn't interested.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing I'll say for that. Listen, so like when you give a gift to somebody, there's, you know, you want them to enjoy it. You want it to be what do you got going on there?
Jack sent us a text message.
Oh, what's it say?
It said, I made a new cocktail. It's called Sunscreen. It's Malibu and whipped cream and yogurt. It smells like sunscreen. It's bad.
All right, so yeah, you're gonna have to like
we're gonna
edit that in there somehow, and we're gonna fucking make that, because one of the things, if you notice, that we talk about is what are we drinking.
Exactly.
And you know, we do like alcohol, and that brings us perfectly to honestly. Okay, so
the original idea Paul had for this podcast was volume 1 of this book.
This one right here. This is called Booze and Vinyl, right? And so a friend of mine bought this for me for Christmas one year because he knew I really liked vinyl and he knew I really liked booze. And it's like it's a book full of records and drink recipes and some like food recipes as well and stuff like that, and how the drinks relate to the records. And apparently they have a volume 2 as well, which I found, and I ordered both of them. Now, so the original idea of this podcast was to go through every single one of the records listed in these recipe books and make that the podcast. However, there is a disclaimer on these books that I could have been violating copyright laws by doing that. So, we're not going to do that. We're going to do what we're doing here. And we are going to have certain episodes where we discuss and review Booze and Vinyl Volume 1 and Booze and Vinyl Volume 2. Because those things, book reviews, are allowed as per the copyright law. So,
just out of curiosity, when we had written down...
So we will make that drink, Jack, and we will do that in one of our episodes.
When we made our envelopes earlier, we went through and listed and noted on the index cards inside the envelopes which albums correspond with one of these.
Yes, with the Booze and Vinyl.
How many, do you remember offhand? How many?
I want to say there's at least 6.
6 in your collection?
No, altogether, like 6 probably total. Five or six total.
You only had like 1? Because I had like 4.
Oh, okay, so it's probably much more than that. So, yeah, because I probably had like... Yeah, there's probably like 5 to 10. Okay, so 5 to 10 of our 50 episodes will be Booze and Vinyl episodes. And what we will be doing in those episodes is, besides discussing the records, we're going to make the drinks that they suggest that you drink while listening to the records. And they give a description, and it's actually really cool. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that is what we will also be incorporating, as well as Jack's drink recipe that he just sent us, with
the sunscreen.
Sounds horrible. So maybe we'll do that, the sunscreen, in the first episode.
I don't know about you, but in my old age, I've recently become of the mindset where, I don't want to die without any scars. So I'll try anything once.
Dude, I have so many scars.
I've got a lot of scars too.
You got a lot of scars.
But I'll try. I've recently become very branching out food wise.
Okay.
I used to hate beef stew. Don't know why. Beef and potatoes and gravy.
You never had my beef stew then, motherfucker.
But I used to give Dad and my mom so much shit when they made beef stew for dinner. And then, like, I would say 3 years ago, I bought there was a fucking can of Dittany Moore beef stew, which is fucking trash.
It's horrible.
But I ate it, and I was like, I FaceTimed them.
Oh,
and I was like, I just want to apologize for being such a fucking asshole when I was like 6 years old.
So it's funny. So I don't, honestly, if that was like the worst you were with food, you were nothing compared to Brian. So Brian is he's number 2 of season 1, who passed away almost 15 years ago now. So let's drink a toast to Brian.
Is it 15 years ago?
Almost 15. It's like 14.
I have this really...
To Brian?
To Brian. I have this really shitty thing where we talked about it actually on one of the episodes of the Summer Movie Club podcast. We covered Coco. Have you seen Coco?
No.
Coco.
Oh yeah, I have seen Coco actually.
Disney
Yeah,
Pixar,
yeah.
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead movie. Yep.
I said to Zach, I was like, I kind of wish that Day of the Dead was more of just not just a Mexican tradition,
like an overall tradition.
An overall tradition, because I have this like if you put a gun to my head and asked me what year Brian died, could not tell you.
Yeah, I have to look it up. I have to look it up on honestly Google. I just put his name in. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, there it is. But yeah, it's been about 14 years.
I just know that it was either in my first or second semester of my freshman year of college. Can't remember which one. It was in February, right?
It was in February.
So it was the second semester.
Haley was old enough to run and talk.
Yeah.
But not really old enough to do much else. So, yeah. But I remember. Yeah, so you're probably early college. But at any rate, so if the worst you did was not eat beef stew, then that is nothing compared to Brian, because like literally, they would have to make different meals for him.
No.
Like that couldn't have certain things in it because he was that picky of an eater. Just one thing that pops out to me is like casseroles, right? So like our dad made this casserole with like egg noodles and ground beef and like, some fucking onions and peppers and mushrooms and shit. Like I'm sure you've had it a million times, right?
It's fucking delicious.
Yeah, and you throw some fucking cheese on it, throw a little Worcestershire sauce, which by the way, Worcestershire sauce, as hard as it is to say, that fucking shit is amazing.
Do you ever see the thing? It was like the 3 hardest things for a human to say is, I love you, I'm sorry, and
Worcestershire sauce. Yeah, exactly. It is. But like that shit is amazing. So like, you throw that together and whatnot. So Dad would make it, and you would have the big batch that was for everybody, and you'd have a little side batch that was like literally like noodles, beef, and cheese, and that was it, because like he was such a fucking picky eater. So I wouldn't really
I've always been of the ilk. I don't know how you've been as a parent, but I fucking hate the whole like, oh, they don't eat that, so we're gonna make like we're gonna have fettuccine alfredo, but they're gonna have chicken nuggets and chips.
So here's what we do, and I don't know if Jack will remember this. Everything was chicken.
Oh, I used to lie to the little blind girl, because she liked meatloaf.
Okay.
So, my mom would make stuffed cabbage, which is literally just
meatloaf inside cabbage,
ground meat, rice inside cabbage with tomato sauce.
Right.
And it's meatloaf,
yeah,
or no, I'm sorry, not meatloaf. She loved meatballs. Everything was meatballs.
And meatballs, yeah. Yep.
So but yeah, I was never like with my 2 sons, Liam and Henry. Our sister will fucking like the kids will the other night fucking when you came over for lasagna.
That was good. It was good lasagna.
They had fucking random
the noodles with
butter and cheese on it.
Yep.
I'm like, I've never been that fucking person. I'm like, I'm bad cop.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Is what it boils down to. So I'm like, you're gonna eat it, or you're gonna go to bed hungry.
Yeah, I think we would do like certain things. It depended on what it was, but like for the most part, honestly, like Jack was great with food. He would try anything, and he'll try anything. He just doesn't like everything. my oldest, Kaylee, she was the one who really, that's where the chicken thing came from. It was everything's chicken.
Katie's,
you know what I mean?
Katie's kids are the same way.
Yeah.
She everything's chicken to them.
And then,
I've made ridiculous shit for those kids. And
yes.
She's like, oh, it's chicken.
And then from my it's funny because my youngest from season 1, Ethan, his thing for a long time like would try stuff, but then like when they became like preteen, teenager, went through this thing where they were into a food like at one point, and then all of a sudden never liked that food.
No.
So it was like, what the fuck? And they've actually gotten a lot better as they've become adults. So right now, Regina, all she eats is breast milk. So, you know, I mean, you know, we'll see how that goes. You know, it's a new time, man.
Let's
you
be
know.
honest, you know, titties.
Yeah, hey. All right, so we have a lot of content here, and we're going to titties. So it's all good. So what we are going to get to here is we are going to bring up...
It's only an hour and a half.
An hour and a half, I know.
It seems like more.
It seems like more, but it's really not. It's only an hour and a half.
We've laughed, we've cried, we've said titties.
Exactly, we've said titties. And we are going to bring up the box of Michael, right here. It's all about Rush, which is Michael, the oldest of season 1.
Living in the line.
There you go. All right, and we are going to take our 50 envelopes here, individually numbered, and I'm going to mix them up. You can't really see it. Here we go. I'll move over. All right, and so the
mix them up on camera.
Mix them up on camera, right? So everybody can see, right? Do it like old school card shuffle, where you just kind of like throw them out.
Yeah, which is kind of shitty.
Yeah, it is kind of shitty. It's like, what the fuck, man? You can't do a bridge. So, all right, so here's the deal. Here's what we're looking for. Whoa, shit!
I'm just trying to be on camera, baby.
Oh, there you go.
I'm just trying to get my fucking 15 minutes. Yeah.
So the plan is we are, you know, because what we're doing is not time sensitive, we are filming some of these in advance, right? So this is our pilot episode. We're not even calling it season 1, episode 1. This is the pilot episode of the Country Hipster Podcast. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these in here. We're going to mix them up again, and we are going to pick out whatever the next episode is. So it's going to be, you know.
Real quick, remember Home Improvement?
No.
You remember Home Improvement with Tim Allen?
Oh, yeah, where you can only see his eyes. That's you right now.
I got a real Wilson thing happening.
There you go.
Right now. I'm fucking all about it, dude.
So
see his face at the last episode.
you do,
Yeah.
you do in the last episode. Yes. I didn't watch the last episode. I didn't remember, honestly.
You didn't watch the last episode because you were too sad to see it go. You're like, I can't.
All right, so oddly, right? So the mom in Home Improvement was my first like, oh yeah, that mom's hot.
Yeah.
But like in a mom hot way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she wasn't like gorgeous or anything like that. But it was like, oh yeah, no, I'd do that.
You're like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So there you go. Are you doing the sexy voice?
I'm doing the sexy voice. That's sexy voice, baby. Look at. I'm just looking at the fucking audio, and I apologize to everybody who might possibly be listening to this.
Adam is blowing it out right now. So, right. So we're gonna drop this, and we're gonna pick our first episode. It's actually I'm pretty excited about this. Yeah. You know,
I'm
like when I tell you, like we wrote up our own cards, and then we put them in these, and we did number them, as you can see here, right here. They are numbered. But that's not necessarily the episode number. It was literally just to show we really did 50 different things. So we are committed to this for close to a year. This one,
I mean, including this episode, we're
going to be 51.
A week shy of
right,
a year,
and I know we're going to do some special episodes. Like
Christmas
we're going to do
episodes, like
exactly holiday music episodes. We're going to do some other stuff. We're going to have other content on the YouTube page as well. So, like I plan on doing some random record reviews, so we're going to do that. Adam is actually a very gifted woodworker and restorer and my personal handyman. So, like, we have an old-time console vinyl record player here that we're going to convert into a dry bar. And we're going to put that on there. That content's going to be on there. It's going to be on the YouTube page. It's going to be, here, I'll put you on camera. There you go, buddy.
I said
you don't have to get.
I like being Wilson.
Yes, I did that a little too soon. So yes, we're a vinyl record podcast, we're a music podcast, but we're going to talk about other stuff too. We're going to talk about the refinishing of the record player into a dry bar. We're going to talk about how I can't do shit physically and like mechanically, yet I still try.
Paul texted me the other day and asked me how to operate a shop vac.
It is the truth. That is absolutely the fucking truth. I was like, hey, you got to show me next time you're over how to do my shop vac.
Yeah.
But, you know, and you know, we're going to talk about the fact that I am a 46-year-old man who just had a brand new baby that's 3 months old, and I'm a stay-at-home dad again.
She's fucking adorable, by the way.
She is amazing.
So far, every time I've held that kid, she smiles at me.
She does. All that kid does is smile. So, you know, which is pretty awesome. So, and she's amazing, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about, you know, what it is to be a new dad in 2023 after, you know, at this point, a lot of my friends who had kids young, which I also had kids young, a lot of my friends are now starting to have grandkids and stuff like that. I was like, fuck that grandkid stuff. I'm going to have another kid.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And
trendsetter.
Yes, trendsetter. So, because I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. So that's part of what we're going to be talking about here as well. But again, the main thing as I'm interested in, and I'm sure hopefully a lot of you are interested in, are vinyl records and music. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of different bands. We're going to talk about a lot of different records. We're going to get into some tangents, and we hope that you will subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us every week. As we do this, like I said, we're going to film some episodes in advance, so that way we can just kind of keep them coming at you. There hopefully won't be any lulls in content coming up. And we're going to go from there. I'm also, because I'm a super cool fucking musician, who I always tell my wife, I am a minor celebrity in certain circles, which is actually somewhat true. Yesterday I played a parade, and I am a minor celebrity in that circle. So because of that, I actually get to meet some of the bands of the records that we're going to be reviewing. Or somehow people are associated with the band or the records. And I'm going to try to get some of those people on our podcast as well to talk about it.
And I've also, when I was telling our brother Zach about this, he was telling me to make sure I keep an eye out for albums that I think he would like to discuss, so he could join.
Oh yeah.
And one of them, So I recently moved my record collection up to Paul's garage and made my 25, and I just went through today to write my index cards out, and I completely forgot that I had one album on there that I think honestly, the album that's on there is his copy that he had bought and then moved home and I stole.
Cool.
So
there you go.
I think that he would really enjoy it.
Okay. So wait. Okay, so here's maybe the difference between season 1 and season 2. So you're talking about, you know, Zach had moved out, went to college, and then moved back home, and you stole one of his records for your personal collection.
Well, I wouldn't say stole. When he came back, he basically gave me the records that he had bought while he's in college.
So season 1, I don't know if you know this, is that so we didn't steal each other's records, we stole each other's porn.
No, I stole his t-shirts.
Okay, no, we stole each other's porn, and it was like an unspoken thing. Like if me and Michael O'Brien stole each other's porn, we never called anybody out on it. It was just like, I guess that's someone else's now.
I just recently saw a stand-up comedian bit on Instagram Reels where he's talking about how he would like steal his dad's porn.
Okay.
But his dad's porn was on VHS.
Uh-huh.
He's like, so really what it boils down to is like I could turn on the VHS to the exact point where my dad finished.
Yes.
And I was like,
that's creepy.
That's
yes.
you, Michael Bryan and Paul.
Yes, that is season 1. That is season 1. Yes. All right, so here's what we're going to do here. We're going to wrap this shit up. What's that?
They said I went to grab the box, but you put it on yours.
Oh, yeah, no, it's down here. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. I've been mixing these up for the last few minutes, so we really have no idea, and we are going to announce what the first official episode is going to be. So, here we go. All right, so we're in there. Man, this box is way bigger than it needs to be.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. All right, so
record sleeves are what, 12 by 12?
12 by 12. Yep. All right, so I'm gonna pick the first one here. Boom.
Wait.
All right. What?
What number?
32.
32.
It's number 32. Number 32. Again, like I said, we're not doing this
before you open it.
Oh, you gotta do it with it official.
No. I was gonna say before you open it.
Cut myself?
Take a guess.
What?
Is it yours or mine?
This is mine.
I want to say yours as well.
Okay.
For some reason, I want to say
All right.
I get the vibe of yours.
All right, here, I can't do that. Seriously,
You
we'll cut my
fucking
finger.
child? Come
Well,
on.
you know, we've been drinking for like an hour and a half now. So, all right, so here we go.
I didn't have
Oh,
any.
fuck this.
I didn't have any pink cards. I know that
So,
for a fact.
so this is amazing. I actually couldn't even see it was pink card. So this is amazing. So hopefully this one ends up being a guest episode, as I'm going to talk to my friend who I know loves this album.
Oh, you're hiding it from me.
I'm hiding it from
Go
you.
ahead.
Our first episode will be, and it is from my collection, Bright Eyes.
Oh.
I'm wide awake. It's morning.
Oh, so I was having a conversation about this the other day with Zach because I said I'm pretty sure Paul has a Bright Eyes album on his
Yes, I
collection,
do.
and I have a Bright Eyes album on my collection, and there's those two albums share a very special
Okay.
bond together.
So here's what I will say is like, yes, this is Bright Eyes is the only artist who out of Adam's 25 and my 25, Bright Eyes is the only artist that we have both
the
chosen.
album, yeah.
This album here is my absolute favorite Bright Eyes album, and I'm going to stop there. I don't want to talk too much about it, and will be.
I want to say one thing about it.
Yes.
I saw you play. Where was it? I saw you play at the AOH in Bristol.
Uh-huh.
And you started playing a Bright Eyes song.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, holy shit, Paul knows a Bright Eyes song. And there was another time in a band who's one of my albums, you started playing one of their songs, and I thought, holy shit, Paul knows that fucking band. Because I always assume that anything that I like, Paul is going to make fun of and hate.
That might still happen.
Yeah. So when you started playing, if I'm not mistaken, you started playing.
First day of my life.
No, I don't think it was.
That was the other one. I can't remember the name of the title, but yeah.
Landlocked Blues?
Might have been.
Yeah.
Might have been. Yeah, something like that.
But
yeah.
you started playing a song off on Wide Awake It's Morning. I was like, holy shit, Paul knows Bright Eyes. That's fucking wild.
So that is amazing. Our first episode
excited.
is going to be Bright Eyes. I'm wide awake. It's morning. Looking really forward to listening to this album and analyzing it and talking about it with you guys here on the Country Hipster Podcast from the Ottsville Record Garage. And I think that's all we got for today, right?
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Thank you. See you soon. It's time to, and you'll figure this out when we actually set our actually season going. I got to do a little tagline here, right? Because we're gonna have some theme music. So, from Adam and Paul, it is time to